Hi, my name is Jonathan Hicks, and this evening I'm joined by
Jack,
Mark, Tony.
and we just finished playing Space Base, which is a kind of dice rolling game. So you start off, and at the beginning you have a card on each of these spots, and the crucial thing is this corresponds to 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever as you roll it on your dice. So at the start of your turn, you roll the dice, and you can either use the total, so this would be 7, so I'd look at my 7 card, and this would give me 2 victory points. You have a few tracks at the bottom, so this is how many victory points you've got. The winner is the first person to get to the end of this track, so whoever gets to 40 victory points first wins, so that's straightforward. Some of these things will give you money, so that's 4 money, 1 money obviously, and this track's coins. And some of them give you income, so that's the green one, which I didn't get anywhere in this game. But every time you spend your money, if you buy something with it, then it drops down to whatever your current income level is. So the higher you get your income, when you actually spend your money, it doesn't go down to 0, it only goes to that point. So that's quite important. So as I say, I could get 7, and you're looking at the blue area, so this is 2 victory points, or I could take a 4 and a 3 separately. I can get both. So if I look at the 4 card and the 3 card, this would give me 1 coin, and this wouldn't actually get me anything. I'll explain that a bit later. But then the next person would have their go, and when they roll their dice, Jack will do things on his board, but I'm looking at the numbers. This instantly is a 1, and I can use 5 or 1 for the red things. Okay, so for the 5 and the 1, this would get me a coin here. I don't have the 1 on here, or I could do 6, because you add them together, and that'd be amazing for me, because I'm going to get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 coins. So you're kind of getting stuff on other people's turns. You're getting money and things that you're then going to be using. Now, what do you use the money for? Well, after you've rolled the dice, there's a market in the middle, and you're buying a card. There's kind of 3 levels of cards, so kind of cheap, medium, and expensive. They get better as they go up. But then you're replacing the slot. So if I were to buy this card, it would cost me 2 money. And if you spend any money, you sort of have to spend all of it. So however much money you've got, you spend it down to your green level. And I'll get this card, and I'd replace whatever card is in the 4 slot. So this is the card in the 4 slot. That comes out. This replaces it. So in the future, I'll be getting just 1 coin. But the card you've replaced flips around, and this is how you get in the red things, and then slides underneath just to the red thing. And then when other people roll 4s, now I can use it to get income. So you can see on the bottom of the cards, like in the future, this card, this red 4 at the bottom doesn't do anything. But if I manage to replace this, then it would flip up, which is how I've got some quite high income here. Now, there's all sorts of funky special abilities in this game as well. So this one, for example, lets you just get 2 cards, like from here, for free. This one, you can charge it up. So when you're rolling, in this case it's a 6, you get to add a charge. There's a few cards which usually charges, so I put 1 in there. Another time if I roll a 6, I could put another one there. And when it's kind of charged up, you can spend the charges to do the ability. So in this case, I can swap my 5 and 8 sector cards. So I might be able to swap this one with this one. In fact, it swaps the red ones as well, I think. That's right, isn't it, Tony?
Yeah.
So obviously, the higher the numbers, like getting up to 12 is quite unlikely, but the cards become really, really good. Now, there's a few funky things. In fact, I got a card that if I manage to completely charge it, then I just win the game outright. But obviously, this requires me to roll 12 3 times, which is very unlucky. There are other ways to make this more likely, though. So a lot of the gameplay kind of comes from the interest in terms of the different kinds of cards you can do and the abilities you can do. You have abilities, I think you had some, didn't you, Tony, that let you activate the thing on the other side.
Sector, yeah.
So if you roll the 7, he actually gets to activate the 8 as well.
Yeah.
So there's a few ways you can, as I say, swap them or trigger off other things. I had an ability here which, when somebody rolls a particular number, I can pretend it's 1 higher and get to the thing that I really want. Finally then, there are these cards. There's quite a few of these available. You can see them on people's boards. If you buy one of these cards, let's in fact get the cheaper one. So this is a lot of money, 33, but it gets you 11 victory points instantly. And the first player to 40 wins, so 11 is a really big chunk of that. But the problem is that I'd have to then replace my 9 slot, whatever this is, gets replaced with this. And now whenever I roll 9 in the future, it does nothing. So that's why you don't want to get them too early in the game. All right, what do we think?
I like it. I think the game has it rewards both low-end strategies, so I took quite a lot. I made sure I got my 1 through 6 filled out because it meant that I'd get something almost every time. And then also it was quite accommodating for the high risk, high reward. So I had some really big ones on my 11s and 12s, and they didn't come up. But if they did come up, oh boy. But yeah, I can see why some people feel a bit left out because normal game strategies is you want to pick sort of middle-ish high numbers, but it doesn't like you picking middle-ish high numbers. You feel a bit like you're kind of left in the water for it. But yeah, it's quite enjoyable.
Okay, Mark.
Yeah, I think we had some discussion on it's a bit like Machikoro with the dice rolling, and that's fair. It is clearly much better than Machikoro. There's just more going on, so I prefer it. The prepping, look at the cards. I think buying from the market is fun. Trying to make sure you cover nice ranges of numbers. I think often I cared more about what I was getting on other people's turns than what I actually was getting on mine, and that was quite nice. Maybe for me, it's maybe just the slight edge of a little bit too light for the time we took to play it. I think it's sort of game that adding the expansion into it once I play it once will make it a better game. I just sometimes, even though I was like, oh, you're getting that stuff coming, sometimes like there wasn't enough variation on all the cards for me to go, oh, I really want to jump in and play this again. I think while there are different strategies, I think I've seen a lot of what the game is going to show, but it's still a very good game. I can see where it's very popular.
Tony?
Okay, I mean, the first time I played this, I played it in Lincoln and instantly fell in love with it, bought a copy straight away. I played it in several groups, and we've all had slightly different strategies each time, and they all seem to work. Like Mark was saying, I think we got a poor selection of cards actually. There's a lot more cards with victory points and stuff like that. But there are different ways you can win. I mean, like you tried, let's get lucky on 12s and try and move charges over. I tried to gain a few points as I go through the game. You can buy the cards. It's one of those games. It's like sort of Splendor in the way you sort of build your engine, but you have to know when's the time to actually buy the expensive cards and get the points at that point. And I think the first couple of times you play it, you don't realise that, but once you played it a few times, it does ramp up really quickly. You get your engine and then start going for the points, and yeah, it's one of my sort of favourite dice chucking games, I will say.
Okay, rating?
I give this a solid 8.
I would give it a 7.
I'd say 7.
Okay. I love it. It's a lot more strategic than it first appears. So Machikoro I really don't like, and although at first it seems like this is similar, there's a lot more strategy in this in terms of how you combo the cards together. You can mitigate the cards. So I had one of my cards that lets me put a charge anywhere. So although it's really unlikely for me to roll a 12, if I hit this other number, which is much more likely, I can then put the charge on my 12 cards. So I actually got 2/3 of the way to winning on that card, although it seems really unlikely. And I love the fact that you can do that, even though it is unlikely. In terms of kind of satisfying, upgrading all the cards, I just have a great time every time. The fact that you can roll the 2 dice and either take the numbers separately, like both of them, or combine them and get the sort of better cards, usually which are at the upper end, give you lots of different options, not just for what cards you're buying, but then how you're activating each of your cards every turn, and on every other player's turn. It's just so satisfying. I mean, I really, really enjoy it every time I play this. I will be on 9 out of 10. It's fantastic. All right, thanks for watching. That was Space Base.